All right, what is going on, guys? Oh my gosh, the chat is blowing up already. Uh, there's already like people giving each other advice on brake pads in the chat. Let me make sure. Okay, so chat's working on screen for you guys. I don't know how delayed it's going to be. You guys have to let me know if any of the volumes are off or anything like that. I'm streaming with like a very new setup. Uh, Basically, everything you see is brand new. I've never streamed with it before, so if I mess anything up, you veteran streamers, just let me know in the chat. So yeah, what is up, guys? 10 years? Can you believe it? Now I know a lot of you guys are obviously in the Miata community and been doing Miata videos for about 6 years, but my first YouTube upload on the Car Passion channel was February 4th, 2011, which was Thursday, 10 years ago Thursday. And man, it's been so cool. I mean, look at just look at the chat right now. Look at this community we've built. So I just wanted to say what's up and come hang out with you guys. And of course, I want to show you something that I have not put on the channel yet, and I thought this would be an appropriate time to do it. Not only have I been doing Car Passion for 10 years and got to meet and interact with literally thousands of you over the years, the channel also hit another milestone. I'm sure a lot of you guys know what's in this box and you recognize these boxes from your other favorite YouTubers, but I want to crack this thing open. And thank all of you guys from the bottom of my heart for helping me reach this insane milestone. It's probably not going to focus that well, but this is the YouTube 100,000 subscriber silver play button. I couldn't be more ecstatic to receive this. I actually rolled over this milestone quite a while ago. It was about April, I think, of 2020. So anybody who subscribed April 2020 or earlier, you are one of these 100,000 people. But even if you subscribed after that, I love you all equally. So I wanted to just kind of show this on stream and thank you guys so much for just making this channel possible and keeping me motivated to just, pump out that Miata content. And, I'm always motivated to get more creative and try to do more and more fun stuff for the channel because you guys love it and it's just been really fun. Juan Estrada says, I literally bought a Miata because of you. I hear that so often and it never gets old. I love to hear that you guys got a Miata because of my channel. You guys boosted your Miata because of my channel. Anything like that, it just makes me feel like a part of this community, which is really special to me. So yeah, I'm gonna stream for a while. A bunch of people are gonna drop by hopefully, and we can just hang out in the chat. You guys got questions about your Miatas? You wanna talk about anything you've got from Car Passion? Anything you think is cool, or you just want to hang out? This is how much of a car person and like a non-sports person I am. This morning I woke up and I did not realize it was Super Bowl Sunday. So I was like, oh crap, I was actually going to stream later, and I decided that it would probably be best to stream a few hours before the kickoff of the Super Bowl. Otherwise, I'd probably get approximately 3 viewers. Or maybe my audience is so full of car people that they would rather be here than watching the Super Bowl, but probably not. Okay, I'm going to try to get through. I'm going to try to read some of these chats because I have like 10,000 messages already. What's a Super Bowl, Jay? Exactly. I did not realize it was Super Bowl Sunday. When's the race between you and Gingium? I'm down any time. The only thing is we're just separated by so much distance. But hopefully Gingium and I will be able to collab at some point. I think that would be very cool. Dropping a K-Series because of you. Excellent engine swap, man. I love K-Series. A lot of people ask if the red car will ever get a K-Series, and I'm going to say a definite no on the red car. Not eliminating doing a K-Series on the channel, but the red car is like, that thing is just built around a Miata motor. That is its heart, and it'll always have a Miata motor in it. And what's up with you guys? How's your weekend going? How's your lives going? How's your Miata going? Let me see. We got another super chat here. Let me see if I can catch this. Thanks for being you. Ara, is that how you pronounce your name? Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you to all of you for being a part of Car Passion for so long. 15 and saving my money for a Miata because of you. That is so cool. I started the channel when you were 5 years old, man. So, someone told me recently, they're like, I grew up watching Car Passion. I'm like, oh, I'm that old? Someone grew up watching my YouTube channel? I'm trying to scroll up to these chats that all came in while I was just ranting. Or going off on a tangent. Thank you for all the congratulations, you guys. I mean, you are all equal parts of this as well. It's not just a one-man show. I don't feel like I'm leading some sort of thing. I just feel like I am lucky to be part of this community with you guys. Jacob says, sanding my car right now to prep for paint, but just want to thank you for everything. Would have never got my 1.8 swap running without your channel. I am pumped to hear that. Edgaras, I think is how you pronounce that. Oh, I lost it. Oh, there we go. This week, I'm going to pick up my first car, NB Miata, and your sticker will be the first mod waiting to put it on. Thanks for the great content. Okay. Edgaras, I hope that's how you pronounce your name. I need to warn you, though. That sticker has great power, and with great power comes great responsibility. You're looking at least 10 to 15 wheel horsepower gain from that sticker. But also, it's got the capability to bend rods just by installing it on your car. So, exercise great caution. Thank you very much for the sticker purchase. Camel 6K. Congrats, bro. Waiting for your 6758 upgrade in order to decide if I want to change mine too. Looking forward for fives. Oh, 5 second 100 to 200K. I don't even know if a 6758 would put the car into the fives. I think like maybe a low 6 second 100 to 200 kilometer. As far as the EFR 6258 versus 6758, I think one thing that is maybe not misleading, but you have to look at more data points than just what it does on the dyno, because both of those turbos have the same exact size turbine wheel and turbine housing. The boost threshold, or what RPM the boost comes on at, is going to be very similar between those two turbos. But I think where the 6258 really shines is transient response. So say you're in third gear rolling at 4,000 RPM, or coming out of a corner 4,000 RPM, and you lay onto the throttle, the 6258 is going to come on quicker than the 6758. It's got to have some kind of performance advantage over it. Otherwise, everyone would just buy the 6758 and get that extra, 80 horsepower capability out of it. But yeah, 5 seconds, 100 to 200K would be pretty crazy. Can you release a t-shirt with the old 1.6 Miata and chilling? Possibly. I don't know. I feel like sometimes if I bring stuff to the channel that's like really far in the past, only the OG subscribers remember, like not that many people are hyped on it, but the possibilities are endless. Who knows where I'll go. I'm thinking about doing hoodies as one of my next merch items, even though winter is probably going to be done by the time I finish them. Sticker's worth at least 10 horsepower. Matt, yeah, I agree. 10 on the low end. 10 at the wheels on the low end. Currently doing my valve lash because of your rebirth videos gave me the confidence, Jory. I'm glad. That's another big part of my channel there, Jory, is just a lot of the stuff that I do is not really that difficult, but I know so many people that you just need to see someone else do it, and it gives you a huge confidence boost. And when you start doing it yourself, you still might be a little iffy on it, but if you can have a good detailed video to watch while you're in the process of something, it can definitely give you a lot more confidence while you're doing it. So that's just a huge goal I have. There are a lot of the stuff I do really is information that's been on forums for many, many years, even before I started my channel, before I started working on cars and everything. But number one, it's buried so deeply in the archives that it can be hard to find. But this new, and I know it's like a big meme, like, oh, like you're a YouTube mechanic, like you looked it up on YouTube, that's how you know how to do the job. It's funny because there's some really good tech articles that are on forums that I've just converted into video format, and all of a sudden it brings that to a new audience of enthusiasts, and it just gets more people working on their cars, which is a huge goal of my channel. I still remember the time that you owned an E30. That was a fun canyon run. I know there's like a small group of my followers that are just like, more canyon runs, more canyon runs. Okay, I can't read your screen name out loud. I think you know who you are, but your question is, curious, is the G25 550 too big for a Miata? Okay, here's the deal. Oh, geez. Here's the deal with the G25 550. I haven't seen any really concrete data on it being planted on a Miata. The fact that it's supposedly rated for 550 brake horsepower makes me think that it is pretty big, but the actual wheels of the turbo are not that large. So it's like there's been a lot of advancement in the aerodynamics of the internals of turbochargers that are letting them get to higher horsepower numbers, but not being a physically large turbo. So I'm waiting for some good data. My friend Quinn, who has been on the channel somewhere before, yeah, definitely, you saw his car in the Adams video. He's got a 1.6 liter that's currently on a GTX 2860R, and he's converting to a G25 550, which dimensionally, that turbo should be in the same range. So I'm very interested to see some back-to-back data on his car. 1.6 liter, 400 wheel horsepower, big cams. I want to see the overlay of those dynos to see what the G25 550 is looking like, because it could be the next EFR 6258, which I consider just the straight up greatest of all time turbo. Does the 1.8 NA come full sequential injection from factory from Savas? Guys, I'm so sorry if I pronounce some of your names wrong. I'm going to try my best. Yes, at least here in the US, the NA 1.8 liters come sequential. The only Miatas that were batch fire injection were the 1.6 liters, except for like the 93 California. But yeah, like all the 1.8s are all sequential injection already. Preferred tire, Liam, preferred tire for canyon driving. Basically anything 200 tread wear, as long as it's not like soaking wet. I mean, some of them are good in rain, but anything 200 tread wear is going to be good enough to daily drive on, get a lot of life out of it. But when they get hot, they're still sticky and very fast. Bridgestone RE71R, Neova 8008R, both very good tires. Will with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Have you done any research on the BMW DCT swaps into Miatas? How much power is my bottom end realistically good for? I haven't done too much research on the DCT swaps. I know there is a gentleman I met online named Harold. His Instagram is DCT Miata. He has a DCT transmission in his Miata, if you couldn't guess by his name, and he's above 400 horsepower. He has the thing running, and I think it's very cool. I'm not really interested in it because at least my red car, that thing is never not going to be a manual. I'm too much of a caveman. I'm too much of a stubborn manual elitist to put an automatic or DCT into my Miata. And the bottom end of my motor should be good for, I don't know what would break, 600, 700, 800. I think the first failure would probably be the head gasket due to, not having the block O-ringed. Like Miata Turbsky, you guys have probably heard of him, Derek. He made almost 1,000 horsepower on his BP. And strength-wise, like the crank, the rods, the pistons, they should all be able to take that much. It's just a matter of getting the cylinders to seal. Colin with the $2 super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate you greatly. Okay, I don't want to fall too far behind on these on this chat. Man, you guys are going wild. Flossie, how's the Husky 501? As some of you may have probably guessed, I sold the 501. It just it just wasn't really able to fit into the grand scheme of things. I basically sold that and got the NB. I just didn't have the time to really commit to it, and I didn't want a brand new bike like that just kind of sitting around and I'd only use it once in a while. So I did end up selling the Husky. You know, already with 2 project cars and working full time is it's a lot to take on. So moto's like a whole new division that I used to be into motos when I was younger, and I had, you know, a dual sport when I was about 20, and I was like, oh, I gotta get back into it, and then it just didn't really work out. Tanner, hey Greg, if I were to do a reliable turbo route for my 1.6 liter, what would you recommend for the manifold, turbo, and intercooler? Reliability and cast iron manifolds are synonymous, my dude. The Flying Miata cast iron manifold is like the tried and true, bulletproof, reliable. I see those things for sale and they're 10 years old and they're just as good as when they were brand new. I don't think I've ever seen a cracked one. Oh, speaking of cracked, Kraken is also another great option for a very good flowing cast iron manifold. Intercooler, just like a CX Racing intercooler, especially like stock block power levels. The intercooler, it's a simple part. You don't really have to worry about it too much. And then the turbo, a lot of this stuff obviously depends on your budget. The size of the turbo is very important. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's only $169 for this eBay turbo. I just have to bolt on and it's fine. But if it's like outrageously large, it's still going to be a fun car, but it's not as fun as it could be, in my opinion. So you want to stick to like that T25 size frame turbocharger, like off the SRs and stuff like that. What's better? Same username that I prefer not to read on screen on stream. A little late, but what's better? GTX 2067R or the GT 25550? Again, there's not a lot of data on the 550 yet. The 550 dimensionally is a little bit smaller than the 2867, and it's also a much newer turbo. So it's going to be interesting when people start actually putting them on Miatas. Jeremy, show us Doggo. I will show Doggo on stream the next time she comes through. She's around here somewhere. Okay, I'm getting way behind on chat. You guys are wild. Colin with the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Oh, that's your second super chat. The real MVP. Question for you. I turboed my car and I'm curious if I can plumb my idle control valve to atmosphere or if it needs to be in the intercooler piping. Okay, so I'm not sure if you're probably 1.6 if I had to guess. It's really best to plumb your idle speed control valve into the intercooler piping. If you're on a standalone, it will run fine with your idle speed control valve vented to atmosphere. But if that valve leaks while you're in boost, that is a performance hindering boost leak. So I always recommend plumbing that into the intercooler piping. If you can convert to an NB throttle body, the idle speed control valve is actually internal on the throttle body, so there's no extra piping or anything to worry about. Mike Van Esch. Hi Greg, thanks for your videos. You inspired me to buy and boost a 93 MX-5. Would you recommend to install an oil cooler? My philosophy behind the oil coolers, I know many Miata engines have oil temperature issues, but it depends heavily on how you're using your car and the climate you're in and how much power you're making and everything like that. So my philosophy behind that is get an oil temperature gauge first. You're looking at, I don't know, they're probably maybe $50, $40. And then you can see if you actually need an intercooler, an oil cooler. And if you do, then you might feel more confident buying a little bit more expensive oil cooler setup, something that's really going to work well, rather than just throwing an oil cooler at the car and being like, I don't know if it was fine before, but maybe it's fine now. I still think even with an oil cooler, you should run an oil temperature gauge. Tanner, I missed your question. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best to keep up. Ask it again and maybe I'll catch it. Tag me, okay? But don't everybody tag me at once, because then I won't see anything. Okay. Tanner, I think I did answer your question. Paul with the $49.99 super chat, and all you sent me was a giant pear dancing and jumping around in buildings. Thank you so much, man. It means a lot. Thank you for the very entertaining super chat. Elijah Baker, maybe. Hey Greg, been a fan forever now. This is a little token for helping me so much through the years. Doing a turbo build now. When are you coming to Miatas at the Gap? What year is it? 2021? If they have it this year, maybe. I really want to go again because I had a really good time. Jaron Timmer. Thanks, Pappy, for you guys and your names, dude. At least all the different Miata dad names are hilarious. And the Craig meme, which for just real quick, the Craig meme is real. It originated in real life at my real job. People who actually don't know my name, and then I post it on my Snapchat and my Instagram, and it just explodes now into just a giant meme. Thanks, Pappy, for all you do. I had yellow 1.6 turbo that I shared on Instagram. With the timing issue that you helped fix. 60 wheel horsepower and 3 psi less boost. Thank you for sharing that information with me, and I'm glad I was able to help you. That's for you guys who haven't seen it. I have a video called I Helped a Subscriber Gain 80 Horsepower on Less Boost or something like that. And that's Jared there with the 769 super chat. Thanks so much, man. Law, sending my love, dude. P.S. Get an NC. Your NC makes me want an NC. You know what I mean? I see your stuff pop up in my feed all the time, and I'm like, man, I really need to get on that NC hype. Hopefully I can touch 400 wheel horsepower with my 2867R. Yes, because I have a buddy on a 2867R, and he just made 506 on E85. So you got this. Ginger King with the $5 super chat. Are we going to keep the stock steering wheel on Too Soon Jr.? I already got a wheel for it. Jonah, thanks for posting the ME442 vid. What are the trade-offs of ME versus Megasquirt ME promo code? No, I don't have a promo code, unfortunately, for the ME stuff. ME versus Megasquirt, I kind of need to use the ME ECU more in order to kind of make that call. I really don't think it's going to be much of like one is definitively better than the other. Oh, I just lost my camera signal. There we go. Okay, so my camera's doing this weird thing. Even though I have the auto shut off turned off, it will sometimes randomly still turn off. And I don't know why it's doing that. It's on a power supply. Again, I'm on pretty much all new gear here. This is the first time ever streaming with it. So if anything happens that's weird, I'll try to fix it as soon as I can. And I apologize in advance. So yeah, ME versus Megasquirt. I really don't think it's going to be like a one's definitively better than the other. The user interface is totally different. They're both capable ECUs, and I haven't had the ME long enough to be like one is better than the other. Elijah Bakher. Okay, is that better? I hate how the chat like automatically jumps when I'm in the middle of reading a super chat. Salvador with the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Thanks for all the helpful vids. Next project, LFX RX-8. I would say the next project is probably not going to be an LFX RX-8. I think the RX-8s are very cool, and I could see myself owning one for sure. Would I put an LFX in it though? I think I would want to just own that screaming rotary for a while. Paul Harrington in the chat, what's up, man? Paul's been on the channel before. You've seen his NC on the channel. You've seen his old NA on the channel. You've seen his BRZ on the channel in the Toge battle. Oh my gosh, there's so many chats. Not working today. No, I am not. It's Sunday. Can we see the studio, Jeremy? Not really, because number one, it's a complete mess right now. I legit have to clean it before I shoot every video. And number two, all of my streaming stuff is plugged into the wall. So unfortunately I can't bring you guys to the studio. It's technically, it's in a detached garage, so it's kind of far away. Tanner with the $4.99 super chat. I got a quote for a built BP4W. Came out to be $6,000. Do you build Miata motors? I built one Miata motor. How much boost should I run on the stock 1.6 liter? Not a question of how much boost, my dude, but how much torque. You'll be pretty much completely safe at the 200 wheel torque level, although some people push to the 250 wheel torque level on the stock bottom end. I am not responsible for anything that may happen at that level, but it's possible that the motor can survive. On a normal size turbo at an average setup, 10 to 12 psi is usually pretty safe. 15 to 17 starting to push it usually. Jeremy, does the pup help with editing? Sometimes she barks while I'm filming and I have to reshoot things. Does that count? Zach, spend this on Dogecoin. Also, what happened to the Supermoto? Yeah, I sold the Supermoto, man. I'm sorry. Anyone who missed it earlier, I talked about it a little bit. I sold the Supermoto. I just didn't have time to get into it that much, and I really just wanted to buy another Miata. And I will spend your $4.99 on Dogecoin later. And if it explodes to $10 a coin, I'll give you a kick down. No, I'm just kidding. Kyle with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. And guys, I'm trying to get to more than just the super chats, but it's moving so quickly. I'm having a hard time. This is why I don't know how long I'm going to stream for. I was thinking maybe a couple hours or something, and I'm going to try to talk to as many of you guys as possible. For anyone who has just joined us recently, real quick, thank you guys again for being with me for all or part of this journey. The 10 years of Car Passion Channel. That means people who are just getting their license or before getting their license and they're saving for a Miata right now, 15, 16 years old. I've been doing this since you were starting kindergarten. It just makes me feel so old. But I'm glad to be a part of this community, and I'm glad that you guys are a part of the Car Passion community. I'll whip this out again real quick. My 100,000 subscriber silver play button. I should actually, maybe I can chill this in the back. Tight. Okay, Kyle, $10 super chat. You're an absolute legend. You helped me go from oil changes to fully built internals on my NA8. See, isn't it you just see someone else doing some things, building the motor. Again, I've only built one motor, and it's the one sitting in my red car right now. I don't know how long it's going to last still. I'm not any kind of expert or anything, but so many people out there, you guys, have been like, oh, I watched your motor build videos, and it gave me enough confidence to build my own motor. Look at that. And that's what Car Passion's all about, is just getting people to jump into their cars, Jump into that engine bay. Once you start working on it, it's like a spiral. It just keeps going. Okay. Ginger King, thoughts on people running a Honda half radiator instead of the Miata standard radiator so you can run an intercooler on the other side? On a drag car, that would probably be fine. I guess if it was a really thick radiator, maybe. I really don't know. I'm just kind of speculating. But Miatas have water temperature issues when you start to push them, especially when they're boosted and you're pushing them. So I definitely wouldn't recommend that without really having any data on it. It's like, yeah, it's bad when you have an intercooler in front of the radiator because the intercooler is blocking or restricting airflow to the radiator, heating up the air that's coming through it. But if you went to a half-size radiator, even though it's getting direct airflow, it's still only half the size. It's got half the cooling surface area. So I'm not really sure how that would work out. Paul with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, man. Jose, will you do a complete cost breakdown of the VVT Beast? Yes, I'm working on a video that's kind of going to be an overview, but along with that video, I have this spreadsheet that has every single nut and bolt and part on that car that is not OEM. That's not the way the car came. And it's like, if you could take that sheet right there and replicate the car exactly how it is. And it's got all the pricing on there, the brands for everything, all the data's on there. So yes, I am working on that. I don't know when it's going to come out, but it is in the works. Mike with the €10 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. A little more information regarding the oil cooler question. I have an oil temp gauge with it being 43 Fahrenheit outside. My oil temp already hits 230 after driving for an hour and doing some pulls. 230 is not really something to be too concerned with. That would be so oil temperature typically can get a little bit hotter than water temperature and be safe still. My water temperature, if I am at the 230 range, I'm still pushing it. If it gets up into the 235 range, I'm like, okay, it's probably time for a cool down. And I haven't lost the motor to overheating yet, so I think that's all right. Oil temp, I hear people run like 250 all day, no issue. I've heard rumors that spec Miata cars get into the 270 to 280 range on track. That sounds kind of sketchy to me, but if the motors are surviving. Drake with the $4.99 super chat. Hey Greg, I own a 1.6 turbo 2554R, 15 psi, looking to upgrade. Should I build a spare 1.6 or buy a 1.8? If you're going to build a motor on the side, I always try to steer people to 1.8s, especially if you can get an NB 1.8, just because the design of the head gives you an automatic advantage above the 1.6. If you build both motors identical next to each other, the 99 plus 1.8 is going to outperform. You know, if you're going to build an engine on the side anyways, then it costs you like $2-3 grand just to build the motor itself. The investment to get an old beater 1.8 motor to begin with kind of becomes more of a drop in the bucket compared to the performance you get. Tacos versus Boost. Which is better? Does the pup have a preference? How's the lady? That's a lot of questions. Jeremy, tacos versus Boost. Are you really going to make me choose? Does the pup have a preference? The pup definitely prefers tacos over Boost. Monster Inc. with the $4.99 super chat. Congratulations on the milestone. Use your videos for nearly everything on my MX-5. Just wondering if you could do a video on adjustable cam gears. Man, the timing of your question is impeccable because I have very soon a video coming out not only installing adjustable timing gears, but also dyno tuning adjustable timing gears, what kind of gains can be seen, and I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be super fun. If any of you guys follow Garage 4AG, he does a lot of like back-to-back dyno testing stuff on 4AG engines. That's very cool. He's got a cam gear video also. Daniel, okay. It's funny that you are here and super chatting right now. $38.99 Australian. Crazy. Thank you so much for that. I say it's crazy because I was just talking about to some of my friends how you came to the US and we chilled and you're like super cool, and we're planning on going to World Time Attack Challenge in Australia, and that's going to be a super sick trip. Here's to the next 10, maybe. We'll see, another 10 years. But yeah, I'm definitely coming to Australia. I'm definitely going to World Time Attack Challenge. And we're definitely chilling. Thoughts on buying another 300ZX? I mean, I don't want to rule it out, but the reason I got into Miatas so much is because they're I can go so much deeper on like the tuning, and the parts are so much easier to change out quickly, and it's just kind of, to me, more of a fun thing to play with. I love the 300ZXs. They drive awesome. They sound really cool. You get a killer stance on them. They just look great. But for now, the Miatas to me are a bit more enjoyable. And I like being part of a much larger community as well. Jay, thank you for the $5 super chat. Paul with the $4.99 super chat. Real question. What does it take to you to quit your job and go to YouTube full time? I definitely think about that, but it's kind of scary also. Like when I see people who do YouTube full time getting burnt out on doing YouTube full time, I'm like, that's what kind of scares me about it. And you know, as you guys who have followed the channel for, you know, at least 2 years know, sometimes I take a break for a month, sometimes for 2 months, and I just kind of need to recharge my creative thinking and get some ideas flowing, and then I jump right back into it. So I'm kind of jumping right back into it right now. But yeah, sometimes I just get burnt out on how time intensive editing is, and right now I kind of have the freedom to just take a break whenever I like. I know that's not good for like the algorithm and stuff, but it keeps the stuff fresh. Chris with the 10-pound super chat. Hey, wanted to say thank you for all your hard work on your videos. They really helped me, inspire me to rebuild my MK 2.5 SVT for drag racing. That's awesome, man. Snake Venom plays with the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. Having issues getting off my cast bolt to change the O-ring. Is it like too tight or is it stripped? If it's just too tight, then just got to hit the gym, my dude. If it's stripped, that's obviously a bit tougher. So yes, soak it in PB Blaster and hit it with a torch. Carefully. Don't light your car on fire. And use a box end wrench. Something strong. Okay. Piece Parts. Sup, Craig? Use a lot of your videos to Turo Miata on my channel. Very awesome content. Thanks, man. I'm so stoked to hear. Anytime you guys are like, we use your videos to do anything, whether it's getting boosted, whether it's buying a Miata, I'm just excited to be a part of the community. King Bryant, I was 11 when you first made a vid, and now I own a blown up Miata. You were responsible for this. I'm so sorry, man. But are you having fun? That's the question. Can you do a series where you just race other cars? I dream of doing a series like that, but it's just kind of tougher than it sounds. Because it's like, I don't want to do like a bunch of street racing on the channel. I don't really like to condone that. And the local 8th Mile track recently shut down. That's by my house, the one that's been on my channel so many times. So that's kind of a bummer. Not that 8th Mile is really like a good display of what the car can do. I mean, my dream would be like to go to a roll racing event or something like that and just put it up against whatever's there. Jose with the $5 super chat. I was super confident working on everything on my NA6 thanks to you. Some words of encouragement wouldn't hurt. Not gonna lie. Love your channel. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Can you convert a stock 1.8 to VVT? Yes, you can via swapping the entire head, and then you need the engine management to run the VVT. So I suppose you could do a VVT ECU, which might entail a harness swap, would it? I don't know. But the easiest way would just be to do a standalone. But yes, VVT head fits on any 1.8 liter Miata engine. Everyone uses your timing belt video. I'm pumped to hear that. I know that video has over 1/3 views, I think. That's why I came out with the idea for that shirt, because people are always sending me the old wrench cross. Jonah, most common oil leak culprits. they just leak everywhere, don't they? I think rear main seal, because people just let them go forever, because it's one of the hardest seals on the entire engine to change. So like all used Miatas just have a rear main seal leak, which can also be confused with the transmission input shaft seal leak, because they're right next to each other, and when the car drips from the bottom, it could be coming from either one. But if you have a serious rear main seal leak, you want to get it looked at, because the oil can eventually get onto the clutch, and then there goes your clutch, and that can be an expensive fix as well. When am I getting Koenigsegg free valve tech on the Beast? That's probably never going to make it to the Beast, if I'm honest. It's very cool, though. There's a guy doing free valve on a Miata, and I'm interested to see the turnout on that. Eco says, "Hey, Krek, thanks for getting my name right, dude. Appreciate it." Krek, that's actually a new one. Usually I get Grep or 10,000 other names. Your question is, what sway bars do you use? On the green car, they're just stock still. On the red car, I have an NB front sway bar and a stock rear sway bar and adjustable links. And I've run that setup for a long time, forever. And I really love the way that the car is balanced with that setup, for what I use it for, at least. I think a lot of people, they want sway bars like immediately when they get their car, because it's a relatively inexpensive suspension upgrade. But I've always been of the school of thought not to upgrade things until you really feel it's necessary, because when you start pushing your car more, especially if you start adding power, then you might realize, oh, like the balance is kind of changing compared to my driving style and what I'm using the car for. So a lot of times big beefy sway bars are used on Miatas that do big track racing, big long sweeping corners. But for what I use it for, which is tighter canyon running, just like fun street driving and autocross, I really like the sway bar setup that I have. Gore with the $2 super chat. Every time I visit SD, I dream to see you on the road. Maybe. I'm always floating around. Hey, Crack. Love your videos. Thanks, Miata 99. Jojo says, "Hey, Preg, will you ever do an IT build?" Oh, ITB build, you mean? That's possibly in the cards for the NB. I don't want to say too much about where I'm going with that car, because it's not really 100% decided. It's kind of just going one step at a time, and then when I get to that step, I'll decide what the next phase is. It is definitely getting nitrous, but I'm leaning towards more naturally aspirated stuff on that car, just because I always tell people, like, okay, the BP engine in the Miata is really not great for chasing naturally aspirated gains, especially when you compare it against almost anything else that's a little bit more modern, like a K-Series, for example. Just to get to stock K-Series level, you have to put so much into a BP. But the flip side of that is so many people are still doing NA mod or naturally aspirated mods on their Miatas, because it's like the cheapest, it's the lowest barrier of entry, and it's the easiest to do, and it's the easiest to revert back if you don't like it or something like that. So I do want to do a bunch of NA mods to that car and test them out, and just kind of give like a review that goes out to the masses to help you guys decide on if you want to go that route or not. Because if you want to chase, serious naturally aspirated power on a BP, it is as expensive or more expensive than just going turbo. But I'll do it for the people, because I'm a man of the people. Hey, Groog, thank you guys for all you guys getting my name right. I love it. Have you considered an LFX Miata swap? Cheap, plentiful, 300 horsepower stock V6. Cheap, eats boost up to 500 horsepower. So there's a local LFX car that's been in development for a long time, owned by a gentleman named Ryan Passy on Instagram, aka The Pass. And seeing his car on track and just in person, it makes me realize how good of a swap that really is. And I want to say it's supercharged by now, supercharged LFX, which is just absolute madness. Aaron with the super chat, thank you, man. What tracks do you recommend in the US for the MX-5? I'm from the UK, and hopefully I can import my 1.6 turbo, currently based in the Midwest. I'm not really that familiar with racetracks in the Midwest, unfortunately. I only know stuff out on the coast here, like of course the world famous Laguna Seca. Juan Estrada, would you consider an ND? I envision myself owning one of each someday. I really do love the ND. I've experienced 2 of them now. I got a ride along in the Goodwin Racing ND at Laguna Seca. That must have been like 2017 maybe, when they were pretty new, and they're insanely capable. And then I drove the Fab 9 tuning supercharged ND, which is like 215 wheel horsepower, I believe. And that car was so perfect. Anyone who saw the video knows how much I was fangirling over that car. I just thought it was so great. So yeah, definitely consider an ND. The next move for me is going to be NC. I will tell you that. Jay, beasted my transmission on my chest thanks to your clutch change video. It's not that bad, right? Like, it's better than going to pay a shop to do it for sure, as long as you're careful. Mr. 2009 Kevin, is a Miata in the works? Also, thanks for all your videos. I made some awesome friends through your community. I'm stoked to hear that. Miata is not in the foreseeable future, although that doesn't mean I don't like it. It just it's not quite on my radar yet. But shoot, it's been 10 years already. In the next 10 years, who knows? Craft in Motion, what's up, Richard? My dude, how does it feel to be the father of thousands? Had to be a busy boy to get here. I'm proud. Adam with the super chat, $2 Canadian. Thank you, man. Oh, Canada. That was such a cool thing. The collab with Speed Academy up in Canada. So fun. All these things that I never would have done if I didn't start Car Passion. Just making new friends, having cool experiences. Would you make an AC fix video for us slow guys? If my AC breaks, possibly I could do that. When I got broken boosted, the AC did not work at all. When I turned the AC on, the compressor wouldn't kick on, but when I jumped the pressure switch, it would kick on. So I'm like, okay, so it's just low pressure. And I went to AutoZone and I got the little cheap AC recharge kit, and it had been converted to 134A. You have to make sure that it's not R12 refrigerant. But I just recharged it with the AutoZone kit, and it worked for the entire time that I owned the car. That's all it needed. It's like $20. So that was pretty cool. Jonah Peterson, any thoughts on the GT17 on an NB1? GT17, like the turbo GT17? I'm not super familiar with it, but it sounds tiny. And I've actually always wanted to see someone use a way smaller than a T25 on a Miata and just see what it's like. I mean, if you're only going to run 150 horsepower or something like that, and you'd be maxing out that turbo at that level, I think it could be super fun. It seems like it would be almost naturally aspirated feeling. Ms. Nittig, what will it take for you to case swap your NB? Like I said, case swap I don't think is really on the radar, but maybe if I blow it up. And I mean nitrous, right? So who knows? Jimmy, driving anything modern after that NA must feel like a proper jump. If you're talking about me driving the supercharged ND, totally different experience. Yes, the NA does handle very well. It's got suspension and sticky tires, and it's super light, and good weight distribution and everything. But that ND, when I got into that car, I had so much confidence because the car just felt so good. Yeah, it's totally different experience. Both very fun cars, but very different. Derek, how much does your next upgrade you want to do cost? The next upgrade I want to do that I haven't purchased yet? I think that's too far out for me to tell. I mean, the next big thing is going to be getting the nitrous system into the NB, but I have some power mods like kind of leading up to that, which you guys will see in some videos that are coming up. T25 Risen, T25 Miata top horsepower, depending on the T25, usually between 200 to like 220 to 300 wheel horsepower, usually depending on which turbo it is and what fuel you're on. Kane, Walsh, NZ, you got my joke. James, hey, I'm old Greg. Won't take that any further. Love your channel. Just moved to my own place with a garage. Congratulations, man. How sick is it to finally get into a garage when you haven't had one before? My next move is getting into a bigger garage because I currently can't fit a car in mine. So it's kind of like I don't have one. Can't wait to get my MX-5 spray painted. It's a DIY project I've considered in the past, doing the full spray paint. Juan Estrada, again, dude, the real MVP. Would you recommend the CX Racing V2 kit or make my own setup? Well, you could do a hybrid, really. You could get the CX Racing manifold and downpipe and then DIY the rest of it. Although, honestly, the CX intercooler kit looks fine, especially it's all pre-fitted, so it makes it really easy. And just from seeing a couple of those CX V2 kits in person, it looks like they really have come a long ways with the manifold strength and reliability. And I've heard some good things about them, people that have some serious miles on them. So I think they're definitely getting better than back in the day when they had a really, not as good of a name and they had a lot of cracking issues with the manifolds. But again, when you're buying a $99 manifold like the old ones, it's what do you expect, right? Hentia JP, hey Greg, been watching since the 300ZX days. Okay, that's a real OG right there. Anyone who's actually been watching my videos since I had the 300ZXs, especially the early one, the bright white one with the cage, true OG. I finally got my car running with a choo-choo boy thanks to your Ultimate Guide videos. Any plans on getting 275 AR1s? As ridiculous as that sounds. Oh, I lost my camera again, darn it. It just randomly shuts off at random time intervals. 275 AR1s. I think it would be insane looking. I've seen some of the Miatas that rock 275 slicks on all four corners, but I really don't want to do flares on the red car. I just think that it looks so good as is. I don't really want to mess with it that much. And that's when I get to that point with a car, typically what I do to feed my need for modding is I just buy another Miata and I'm like, okay, this is the build I'm going to do on this car. And it kind of takes care of it for a while. But it would be wild. It would be wild. I think it would be crazy to try to fit them on the rear under stock fenders. I mean, mathematically, with the perfect offset, there might be enough room. I'm just guessing. But there's no way you could fit them in the front on stock fenders. Even the 245s are kind of a pain to live with because there's certain like steering angles and stuff that you have to try to avoid. But, I mean, they work. Miles, are we ever going to see some comfort mods with the NB, like heated seats? Probably not heated seats. I kind of want to get a bucket seat in it, actually. But I don't know. Comfort mods, they're just not too much of my thing. You know who's... There's definitely some content out there on like people who dynamated their entire Miata and try to make it really nice. And I'd imagine that you could actually get pretty far with that. You know, it's not going to be like a Lexus or something, but if you like take your build in that direction, the nice riding direction, I think you could get pretty far with it. Derek, what are you doing, man? $99 super chat. You guys are wild. Thank you so much. Towards the nitrous build. I appreciate that greatly. And you know what? It's definitely going to go directly to the nitrous build. I bought the kit already. I think the full kit was around $600. Which to me, for the amount of fun that I'm going to have, like putting it in and making content on it and having it, I think is totally worth it. But Derek, big time appreciate for that. I cannot thank you guys enough. Foam data. I've seen 250 wheel fine in a 6-speed. A 250 wheel really is fine for a 5-speed if you're careful with it and you're not doing like aggressive wheel hopping burnouts and launches with it. 6 speeds, 280, 300, 350. Some people put 400 through a 6-speed. If you have a slower spooling turbo and it's on a street car and you're not doing launches and just like banging gears on it, the 6-speed can actually have a lot of strength. Especially if anyone out there with a 6-speed that's running high power turbo, the 3-4 shift you have to be very careful with, because the fourth gear, the ring on the front of the gear comes loose off of its press fit if you like dump the clutch really hard in fourth. So be careful with that. Talal, I think is how you say your name, maybe. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Hey, yo, do you think you could raise the volume of your audio, like on the mic? I can, but I'm at like the limit of clipping right now. So if I raise it up like this high, I think the audio quality, let me see, that's about as loud as I can get it right there. How is the mic volume for everyone? On my side, I'm like right at the upper limit of it, so I don't want the quality to start dropping off. You helped me a lot with my NB in the last 4 years. I'm glad to hear that, man. Colin, Money Pit collab with Donut someday. Hopefully, that would be super cool if I could be on an episode of Money Pit. I've talked to Zach a couple times. He's super chill. I do like that series. I like what they're doing with that car. What you just did made it better. Okay. Yeah, let me know how the audio is. Quality wise, I actually have the stream. I've been periodically checking it. Let me check. I have the actual stream open in another window so I can kind of monitor the video and audio quality, and everything is crystal clear on my end. So if the quality is bad, it's possible if you have a slower connection that the quality of the stream is being reduced. But I've been kind of monitoring it to make sure everything is good as far as the quality. But yeah, the levels specifically let me know if I'm fricking anything up. Mr. Kevin, 2009. Again, before I go back to studying, LOL. Oh man, don't let me interrupt your studying. Have you ever thought about getting a Fox body? I wouldn't say I've thought about buying one. I think they're pretty cool. My boss actually has one that he's the original owner of, that he's got pretty modded up, and actually like has done quite a bit of handling mods to it. 100 treadwear, semi-slicks, sway bars, all the links you used to have to put in the Mustangs back in the day. And it's a super fun car. Yeah, audio's distorted now. Yeah, that is what happens when I turn it up too high. So I'm going to try to leave it right there. And if I get too far away from the mic, maybe it gets quiet. LSD versus Torsen. Don, LSD versus Torsen, what do you prefer? Well, Torsen is a type of LSD. So I'm not sure if you're meaning Torsen versus clutch type LSD. I personally prefer Torsen. The clutch type can be pretty aggressive. You know, if you have especially like an aftermarket one, when you're steering, it can almost be like a welded, and the car does like a cha-cha-cha-cha, like one of those things. But for drifting, most people prefer the clutch type because they have a more aggressive lockup. And actually, the diff that I have in the red NA is a clutch type. It's the Getrag G80, just the factory clutch type LSD that came in the Cadillac CTS, CTSV, STS. And I like the way that it behaves. But the green car has a Torsen, and and the red car used to have a Torsen, and I like them. A 3.3 versus a 3 Will Wurzen 3.3 versus a 3.63 rear end with an MSM 6-speed. Fully dependent on two things when you're selecting the gear ratio for your car. Number one, how much power do you have? And number two, your personal preference. Because most people that are naturally aspirated, sub 180 horsepower, they try to go shorter and shorter and shorter on the gears because it helps really keep the engine revved up, and it's quicker that way. Again, it depends on how you use the car, but it helps you always find the right RPM to be in that power band. But as you increase the power, when you lower the diff ratio, lower the number, like going from a 4.3 to a 3.9, it reduces the torque in every gear that's being put down to the wheels, which increases the traction in every gear. And especially on turbo setups, when you have longer gears, you have to shift less often. So it helps keep the turbo spooled, gives you those long pulls, increases your traction. When my red NA was at about 230 horsepower, that's when I went from a 4.3 diff to a 3.9, and it totally changed the car for the better in every way. There were no drawbacks to that. And then cruising RPM, I mean, it's a perk, but I don't really choose the gearing in my cars based on cruising RPM. It's more like kind of the performance, what I'm shooting for. FDB7, are we going to get some more content on your second channel? The second channel is kind of weird to me. I go back and forth between like, what do I want to upload there? Or like, why does it even exist? You know, that channel I created in like 2004 or something. And it was like just my channel that I would throw random videos on. And then I started doing boost vlogs for a little while. And I was like, I started putting more and more effort into the boost vlogs. And I was like, why am I not just putting these on my main channel? So I don't even really know why I have that channel. But yeah, it's possible. If I do like some random roll race or something, then I'll put it on that channel. It's anyone who wants to know what it is, it's called Greg Peters. I'll put it in the chat. If I can spell my own name. And I mean, you guys can subscribe to that if you want, but there's like, sometimes I'll go like a year without uploading to it, and it's just random things. I never know what I want to do. Sometimes I want to try something brand new. I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna start a Twitch channel and start doing gaming, or just chatting videos, just for the people who like this stream right here, just to come hang out with someone. That might be cool. And then the next week I'm like on to the next thing that I think I want to try. Cedric, what keyboard? It's the Logitech. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of it. Oh. I'm gonna shut my stream down by accident. Oh, G413 Carbon, that's right. Logitech G413 Carbon. This is my first like actual real keyboard, and man, it's so fun to type on compared to crappy $9.99 Office Depot keyboards. Matt, do a burnout on stream in Ricer Alley. I should, but I'm like hardwired to the wall right now. I can't really go anywhere. Nick, I'm shooting for 500 to 600 horsepower in my Turbo NA. Big power time. Motor is built for 800 and can rev to 10,500 RPM. I want to go with the 3.9 for the ratios, but what's the power level for that diff? Safely like 350 to 400 horsepower. At 500 and above, especially if you're gonna try to get that thing off the line, you're gonna want to do a diff swap. In my car, I have the V8 Roadster's Getrag diff swap. And I have the 323 ratio, which is the tallest. And with that diff swap, you can also they have different levels of axles you can choose from, stronger and weaker axles. I just have like the lowest ones because my car is just over 400 horsepower, so I didn't feel like I needed like the crazy 900 horsepower axles. So there's that swap, and then V8 Roadsters also offers the Ford 8.8 rear end swap, which is even stronger than the Getrag diff swap. So yeah, 500 plus, 600 plus, you're gonna want to put an aftermarket diff in that thing for sure. Joffroy 71. What's the top speed of the Miata? It's like exactly 160, I think I calculated. I've done about 130 in it a couple times, but it gears out at 160, and it'll go right up to it, but then it's like you're on the limiter and there's no gears left. It's not like aerodynamically limited. If I had the 6-speed ZF transmission in it, or if I had different gearing, it could probably go faster, I assume. Like I said, I've only gone to like 130, 135, so I don't know how fast it could go. Power wise, it could probably go pretty fast, at least like 170 or something. I'm not really sure. Bilbo Baggins. Bought a Miata because Gran Turismo 2. Boosted because of you. 202 188. I'm guessing 202 horsepower, 188 wheel torque, all DIY. If you had to do a series on a non-Miata, what would you do? That's a tough question. I've looked at RX-8s. I've looked at a lot of different cars, actually. I've looked at, believe it or not, I've looked at Coyote Mustangs. I had a couple 300ZXs. I don't know if I would go back to that, but I like a lot of cars. I really love NSXs, but I don't see getting one of those anytime soon, especially because the values are going up exponentially. Bought a Miata because of Gran Turismo 2. That comment. Okay. I've been like heavily into cars via video games since I would say like 1997 Need for Speed 3 era, when I was a little kid. And like, yes, I was into like Hot Wheels and whatever, but Need for Speed 3, I really started getting into cars and like all the specs and like horsepowers and top speeds and stuff like that. And there were some computer games at the time that I was just getting into it. So like every car game was super cool to me. There's a car game, I think from maybe 1986, called Sports Car GT, that was like a game where you could get really intricate with the modding and stuff like that. And then my friend introduced me to Gran Turismo 2, and my mind was just blown at that this game existed. And man, I just loved that game. And every time a new Gran Turismo came out, I just buy it right away. That game, I mean, people make fun of like people playing video games and stuff and playing car games, like, oh, it's not like you're not a true car guy, or whatever people say. Like, there's always haters out there, but car video games have taught me a ton. There's so much real life application to playing video games, especially some of the modern games with the really good physics engines like Forza and the more modern Gran Turismo games. What's the craziest thing you've seen in Ricer Alley? Depends what you mean by crazy. Like car related, I've definitely seen people try to do burnouts and they get like fully sideways, like almost going to the parked cars. I heard a parked car get fully dusted by someone in the middle of the night. It sounded like a bomb went off. They collided with the parked car, and then they just took off. Like, it's probably drunk driving, I'm assuming. I've seen at least 3 hit and runs just like on parked cars. People are doing burnouts all the time, and it's crazy because there's a police station that's in the vicinity, and they just like they like drag race almost from the police station. Derek, if we want to send you fan mail, where do we send it? Okay, I'll post that. I should probably put it in the description, but I'm going to post that in the chat. Oh my god, I can't type my own name. Don't send it to Grep or Krek because they might not actually put it in my mailbox. Oops, did I just send that? There's my, that's my Car Passion P.O. box if you guys want to send me anything. Radar Miatas on a future stream. Juan Estrada, dude, with the super chat again. What are you doing? It's no more. I'm glad though. I'm glad to see the all the super chats. I'm glad. Honestly, when people say things like, "Oh, like I found your video on the clutch job and it saved me from having to bring my car to the mechanic and pay $300-$500 labor," like I love hearing that kind of stuff. Like that's what I want to help with in this community, because you guys, even if you've never owned a car, you don't even have a car yet, you're saving up for a Miata, whatever your situation is, you've never even changed an air filter before. A lot of the stuff on cars is easier than you think it is. And it's just a matter of getting that confidence up a little bit and diving into some easy stuff. Pop the hood and just see if you can identify the different parts under the hood. Everyone's at a different level in their car modifying and their car knowledge, like timeline. So I hate to see when people ask questions and people, other people just kind of like make fun of them because they don't know like a really simple thing or something that seems like a dumb question to one person. The person who thinks that's a dumb question, they didn't always know the answer to that question either. So it's kind of pointless to make fun of people, in my opinion. Anyways, I'm like the tangent master today. Tom, with that, I think that's Czech 100. Czechoslovakia, is that where you're watching from? Dang, I tried to pick a stream time where most of the world would be awake. I know in the UK right now it's pretty late at night. But anyways, thank you all for being here. And anyone, I know I've already been over this a couple times, but anyone who's just joining or just joined the stream in the last little bit, celebrating 10 years this week. 10 years ago, I uploaded my first video on the Car Passion channel, celebrating that, as well as the 100,000 subscriber silver play button. Okay, Tom, a little something for you. Thank you so much, man. What is your dream build except for another Miata? I want to say the car that instantly comes to my mind as far as a dream build, Honda NSX. I freaking have loved those things for so long, ever since I was a little kid, even like before I got into 300ZXs. Like I just love those cars so much, and I'm pretty sad that the price of those cars is going up so much. But who knows? Maybe I might be able to get one someday. I love the fact that they're like, Honda's just like, we're going to try to beat Ferrari. Just like the aspirations of that car, especially the second gens, which I think the first gens look a little bit better, but the second gens are like kind of specced out better. The low roof line, I was always obsessed with like how low is the roof compared to the ground. And it's like, I think the NSX is like 45.9 inches or something like that. Super low and long and sleek. And I just love the styling, the sound, everything about them. No way, so slow. What NSXs are so slow? They're they're underpowered for how much they cost. I mean, the 3.2s obviously are a little bit more respectable. Um, I know I like to be the guy that says, oh, like I would do a naturally aspirated build, purist, yo. But I think both supercharged and turbocharged NSXs are equally as awesome. And it kind of brings their power level up to how sick they look. Foam data. I got told a great tip. If you think about it, all car stuff is just nuts and bolts. A person put it together so a different person could take it apart and put it back together. Yeah, you're right about that. Martin, I just want to pop in and say thanks for all the content these past few years. Literally couldn't have taken care of my Miata without you. I'm glad to hear that, man. Thank you for stopping by today. 9:13 p.m. in the UK. Okay, so it's not too late. How many times have you been pulled over in your car, and what has the worst fine been? Okay, I've been pulled over one time in the red car, believe it or not. And that was not the ref ticket. That was actually a speeding ticket, and I was blatantly speeding and 100% deserved that ticket. I think it was like $300 or $400. And when I got the ref ticket, I didn't get pulled over because I was parked. And I know a lot of people have been asking about the ref ticket. Yes, I did get that resolved through a legal service, kind of like the legal service where you pay to get your speeding tickets resolved, except he specializes more in ref tickets. He's called @FYourTicket. Why am I typing like that? Like a goon. Put it in the chat right there. That's his Instagram. If you guys are like, especially in Cali, local. Ref ticket was dropped, so I did not have to ref the car, and the fine got lowered from, the fine was going to be just under $1,000, and it got lowered to like $300. So obviously I'm stoked on that. Max with the super chat. My Miata blew up. I've been thinking about doing a Megasquirt V6 MR2 swap, but not sure if I want to leave the Miata community. Got any advice? I love the Miata community. MR2s are really cool cars. That's my advice. That's probably not very helpful. I love the Miata community though. I'm not here just for the car, but for the community and all of you guys as well. You make it fun to be here, basically. All right. I've been live for about an hour and a half. I'm gonna take a quick break, just a couple minutes. Quick little bathroom break, water break, and I will be right back. And my mic was off. Okay. Okay. Like I said, there we go. This is all new, all like 100% new stuff. I've never used Streamlabs before. My camera, everything's brand new. So my apologies for literally everything that just happened. Alan, what's up? He's taking a data log. Just ran out. Like, I gotta drive around the block real quick, check my AFRs. Okay. Let me get caught back up on chat here. Welcome back. Okay, so what I want to do, and I'm gonna try to make sure I get like all the levels and stuff right, is I want to watch on stream real quick the first video I ever uploaded to my channel, which was 10 years ago as of yesterday. I messed up. It was actually February 6th. February 6th, not the 4th. 10 years ago that I uploaded this video. So let me make sure I can, if I do this, oh, look at that. I'm like a pro streamer, dude. I should start a Twitch channel. Okay. How am I going to get my volume to work here? This is my first ever YouTube video.
Dude, I should
make sure this is working.
What's up, YouTube? Just want to start by saying hi. My name is Greg. Kicking off a new channel today, a new show, episode, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be all about cars. Everything cars. First, let me tell you what this channel is not going to be.
I regret this immediately.
It's not going to be Garage 419, something like that, where I'm testing 200... First, let me tell you
Almost. Okay, hold on. I regret this immediately.
Garage 419, something like that, where...
Let me figure out how to get this crazy echo. Max, the frying pan was actually in a different video. Okay, let me just see if this is not going to do that echoing thing now.
$100,000 cars on test tracks, and I have 15.
Okay, second of all, who's Garage 419? I guess I should go back and look. I have no recollection of who that is. Okay, I think my echo issue is gone.
HD cameras rolling all the time and helicopter.
I have an HD camera now, but not a helicopter.
A cool show. Hopefully it's cool. I want it to be a cool show. There's going to be car news, opinions, videos. I want to have a segment where I feature a car, a viewer's ride. You can submit your car, information, specs about it, stuff like that. I'll choose the one that I like the best. Maybe someday
what is this? What is this scene right here?
I'm just brainstorming. There's ideas flowing through my head. I want to have a power times board, kind of like they do on Top Gear.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. The power times board. You know what that is? It's the global hairdresser flex off. If you guys look up any of my draggy videos, you'll see what that is. But many people have submitted their GPS data to me, and there's like a big 0 to 60, 0 to 100 quarter mile, like this whole database of all the Miatas and stuff. That is, I find after 10 years or after 9 years, I finally did it.
Except it's not going to be, I don't have my own test track, unfortunately. So
Dude, stop complaining.
Like 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 or 8th mile time or cornering G's. I have a project car myself. That's going to be a street legal race car, pretty much. I'll be
which never happened.
Any progress that's getting done on that. In fact, I'll do a video pretty soon, basically with what stage the project is at now and kind of what my goals are, stuff like that. It's called Project SDZ32. I'll go into detail and it'll have its own video. We go into a drifting event within the next couple weeks, try to get some cool footage from that. But I want this channel to be fun and entertaining. I don't want to sit here
that
and
hasn't changed
for 20 minutes about worthless
you're kind of
nonsense.
rambling right now.
I want it to be interactive. I want you to tell me what you want in an automotive channel. I want you. So leave me some comments, give me some feedback. What do you want to see in an automotive channel? Obviously, like I said, I'm not going to be driving Lamborghinis at Nürburgring, so I apologize.
Dude, you're talking too much about what... I just want to check the chat real quick, sorry. You're talking about too much about what you don't want to be, what you're not going to be.
Apologize for that, if that's what you were looking for. I'm really into
Look at this
Japanese
quality.
cars.
Even my stream is better quality than this.
What I prefer to own, what I like to drive, modify, things like that. But just because I prefer that doesn't mean I'm going to hate on your Camaro, your Mustang. I want to feature it. I want it on my show.
That has held true.
All cars I can appreciate.
I recently featured a Mustang on the channel.
In all corners of the market. I like when someone takes a car that they love for whatever reason and modifies it to suit exactly what they want to do, whether it be a race car, a street car, a lowrider, anything like that. So if you think this is something you might be interested in following, maybe subscribe. What do you have to lose, right? Leave me a comment,
video,
give me a thumbs up, anything like that.
Look at me just trying to farm thumbs up off you guys already. This video, I think in the first week, maybe 2 weeks, got 26 views.
I want comments. I want those.
And I was ecstatic.
Expecting those comments.
Is there anything else meaningful
Until my
here?
next video. Peace out. Let me know what you think. That's stupid.
Look at the lighting. Okay. All right. So yes. Oh, let me go. Okay. I couldn't see the chat during that. Oh, sorry about the aspect ratio. It's like totally wrong. Oh, let me go. Let me turn this off. Okay, we're back to normal. Sorry, I'm so like not a streamer, but maybe I'll do it more. This is pretty fun. Okay, yeah. So that was my first video, 10 years ago. One of my main inspirations, even at that time, another OG YouTuber, Philip DeFranco. Now, obviously not a car related channel, but he was just like doing his thing. You could tell he was super into what he was posting. He was posting I don't know what his upload schedule was, but just posting all the time. He had a super cool community, and I was like, what if I did that, but just like car related? And that was kind of my idea at first. I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk about like cars in the news and stuff. But I did a lot of different things at first. I want to see if there's any other gems in here. I don't know how much more cringe I can handle. My first Miata video was 7 years ago. That was 2013. So I'm sorry to put you guys through that cringe, but I just wanted to watch it on stream. I mean, it seemed appropriate for the 10-year stream. What's going on in chat? Oh my god, I have a lot to catch up on. Daddy182, happy 10th birthday to the Car Passion channel. You rock. Thank you, man. Appreciate it big time. Guys, smash that like button. FDB7, that's right. Smash it. No audio. Hopefully there was audio eventually. Have I ever driven a Miata in the snow? No. OnlyFans when? Come on. What would I even put on my OnlyFans? It would be me like showing the internals of the Miata. Garage 419 was an old road and track type channel. Yeah, I have like a very vague memory of what that was. Oh, Matt Farah was Garage 419. Okay, that makes sense. El Fenomeno 320 ball cock shank washer. You know, the OGs know about the ball cock shank washer. OnlyFans would be showing VTech internals. OnlyFans showing VTech internals. You gotta be 18 to join. That's very funny. Remy, what's up? Craig? I don't know, one of them. I don't even know anymore. The only thing that surprised you the most in your first years of YouTube. Oh, the things that surprised you the most in your first year of YouTube and then in your 10th year. I don't know about specifically, if I could think of anything super specific like that, but as the community grew with the type of videos I was making, especially when I started getting into the more Miata-centric things, was kind of the overwhelming positivity and the good response to the videos that I was making. Anyone who has not done a lot of posting on the internet, especially to like something that a good amount of people are seeing, if they do that for the first time, they realize like how mean people can be online and how just like straight up disrespectful. And I thought about it a little bit going in, but you never really know until you start posting and stuff like that. But I was very surprised to see that you could create your own little corner of the internet and it just be like this awesome and wholesome community. So that was like a very pleasant surprise. Cheers from all your sons from Guatemala. Thanks, Rodrigo. That's another thing that's crazy to me. Like I got a square top intake manifold for the NB from someone in Israel. Was it Israel? Yeah, I think it's Israel. And I was like, dang man, that's crazy. Like to hear that I have a fan in Israel, and he's like, no, dude, pretty much everyone who has a Miata here knows who you are, and that's like mind blowing to me. And I get a little bit of a taste of it when I go to like a Miata meet, and so many people there just know who I am, and that's just, it's just crazy and just very fun to be a part of the community like that. I don't know, it's that's another thing, Remy, regarding your question. Going somewhere where you don't really know anyone, but a lot, like 75% of the people kind of know you or know who you are, that took some adapting to get used to. Like from the first meet that I ever held, which obviously I posted about the meet that I held, so everyone who received that invite like knew of the channel, kind of knew who I was and stuff like that, but I didn't really know any of those people. So people just flying, coming up left and right, and it's cool to meet people that you never would have met otherwise, I guess. It's the only time it's like, I don't want to call it awkward because that has like a bad connotation, but some people watch so many of the videos that they feel like that we know each other already. So they come up as if I already know them, and it's kind of like I still need to like meet that person and see who they are. Like some people come up to me, and even like the owners of companies that I've worked with before, but I've never met them in person, will walk up to me and they already expect that I know who they are, but I've never been able to put a face to the name. So that's interesting, getting used to that. And then it's not like I get like recognized everywhere or something, but occasionally, maybe 3 times a year or something like that, I'll get recognized in a completely random place. Someone will just, like yell at me from across the parking lot, like, Greg, like, what's up, man? And that's a new thing to get used to that obviously wouldn't happen otherwise, but it's really fun and it's really cool to just meet random people. Andrew, what has been your favorite moment? I don't know if I can choose one, but I will say some of my favorite things are being able to collaborate with people who I never would have met otherwise, whether it's an in-person collaboration or even mentioning each other in videos or like doing some kind of challenge or something like that. Especially the Speed Academy challenge where I got to race against, not only did I get to go and meet Dave and Pete from Speed Academy and hang out with those guys, but I also got to meet Quinn, and Brian and Matt, all the guys that are on that channel, who I have followed Quinn's cars since before I even got a Miata. I knew about Quinn's Miatas, and his cars were like huge inspiration. I consider him like one of the how should I say it? Not like innovators, but like one of the leaders of like one of the pioneers of the heavily modified Miata movement. He had 250 plus wheel horsepower NA stock block 1.6 liter back in, I don't even know exactly when he had that, at least 2012, but probably before. And the record holding, as far as I know, stock block naturally aspirated build in his NB. And he was just like, he was at the front before Miatas exploded on YouTube. And same thing with Tom of Tom's Turbo Garage. He had Sunflower, which was 250 something wheel horsepower, water injection, stock block 1.6 liter, screamer pipe, external wastegate, 2012, 2010, like way back before Miatas were big on YouTube. Those are the people that I was following their channels to just learn how to build my car. Not even thinking like, oh, like I'm going to grow a Miata channel on YouTube. Like I just want to follow these people who are already pushing the limits of their cars. And then, you know, later on I ended up getting my Miatas, and now I'm all about pushing the limits on what I have and presenting that to you guys. And then you guys go and do the same thing with your cars. So it kind of comes full circle like that. Google is your name? Why do I feel like that's not your name? But anyways, if it is, that's cool. People call me Google sometimes. Since 10 years ago, do you feel professionally and personally grown, or just feel like you've been through more stuff? I'm not sure if you're talking about on YouTube specifically, or like in real life as a person outside of YouTube. So within YouTube, I feel like, yes, the channel has come a long way in getting more professional and just doing everything at a higher quality level to where, you know, more people are able to enjoy it. It's always my goal, like, how can I make the next one better? How can I make the next one better? So obviously 10 years after doing that, the channel itself has come a long way, and I'm very happy with where it's gotten to. Me personally, being on the channel, I feel like the biggest personal improvement I want to say is improving my camera presence, as I just demonstrated by showing my first ever YouTube video, you know, my first time ever talking to a camera and uploading it to YouTube. And that's something that's definitely taken a lot of time to get better at. And I still feel like I have a lot to improve on that in my camera presence. And then I can't really say like public speaking, because it's still not really public speaking. I'm still like by myself talking to a camera, but I still feel like I've improved just talking in general and listening to myself speak. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then in if you meant like in real life, aside of outside of YouTube, I definitely, yeah, like 10 years, anyone over a 10-year span is going to go through a lot of things, good and bad. Like, it's guaranteed you're going to experience good and bad things in your life. And I feel like you're going to grow no matter what, but there's definitely ways that you can grow more, especially like taking negative experiences and looking at it kind of from an outside perspective and being like, how can I take this negative thing and grow from it, learn from it, and be better after it. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so deep right there, but yeah, that's me. And you know what? We're just hanging out, so that's that. Yes, Alan Piggy 123 Yossi. That is who I got the manifold from in Israel. Juan Estrada. One like, the one dislike is from a Mustang owner. That's how it's been, man, for years. And that's one thing that I don't think is going to change anytime soon. Graham Everett, how do you manage to hold down a full-time job, a top quality YouTube channel? Thank you for thinking that it's top quality. I appreciate that. With some crazy in-depth information and still manage to answer all of my silly questions in DMs. It's just spending a lot of time. My job is definitely full-time. And it's not like a slotted 40 hours. I'm on call pretty much all the time. I have a work phone that I have to have with me all the time. And business hours are business hours, like Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is pretty much when the action happens. But I'm kind of on call all the time. So that's good and bad, because sometimes during the day it will slow down a little bit and I'll be able to, work on some car passion stuff a little bit. And there are parts of my job where I can do them anytime. It doesn't have to be done during business hours, like paperwork type stuff I can do on the weekends or at night. So it takes a lot of time management and time commitment for sure. As far as the DMs go, it's gotten much more difficult over, every year it gets more difficult to try to keep up with the volume of people who contact me, which I'm eternally grateful that you guys view me as a good source of information and you feel confident in having your questions answered by me. And I will not be able to get to every single question ever. So, if you send me a message and I don't get back to you, I apologize, but just know that there's a lot of people trying to reach me, and sometimes about very technical things. So, even if there are many times where I will read DMs, I at least do my best to read everything. Sometimes I'll read them and I won't answer them just because it could either be like require a really in-depth answer, or I might just not have the answer to it. I only know kind of what I've done myself on my own cars, what I've done extensive research with online. I don't know everything. So sometimes you guys ask like some really technical questions and I just don't know the answer. So I don't see it and I'm like, I'm gonna ignore this guy. Sometimes I just don't have the answer. Elwin, we really appreciate you actually replying to DMs. Honestly, can't think of other YouTubers that do the same that I follow. Yeah, it's interesting. A big part of how I've always wanted my channel to be, and in the beginning when the channel was still small, I wasn't in my mind like, no matter how big I grow, I'm always going to try to answer everyone's DMs. When I was small, I was like, I just always wanted to talk to whoever, was reaching out to me. And I always had fun interacting with people. And that never got less fun along the way. It just got way bigger volume. Like if you can imagine when my channel had 1,000 subscribers and I didn't even have an Instagram yet, all I would get is I would get like one YouTube video comment like every other day. And now if I upload a video and I do a YouTube post, it's like, okay, here's 300 comments on YouTube. Here's 100 comments on Instagram, plus Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, emails. And I really try to get to everyone, at least read everyone's message. But, the volumes definitely got huge. But yeah, I'm glad you appreciate, me answering as many DMs as I can get to. I think, especially if you've sent me a few over the years, I've probably gotten back to you at least, a couple times. So I do my best and will continue to do my best to get to everyone. As Daddy182 asked, where is Ellie? We want to see that doggo. Hold on a second. Oh man, she's like totally passed out. Ellie, come here. Come here. She played so much ball yesterday. She's super tired today. Come here, little sleepy. Come here. Can you come up here? Come up here. Hey, she said, I'm too tired for this. Come here. Hey, come here. Come on. You can get your ball. Come here, real quick. Come on. Come up here. Okay, she said, I'm too tired. Oh. Can you say hi? Oh, he said, this is what you woke me up for? I was dead asleep. This is Ellie, my dog. Okay, you can go back to sleep. I'm so sorry. She's like, can we play now or what? CHA Garage, I have to say that you've been very inspiring. My project got so far because of you. I've done a lot. You've done a lot of researches for us, and I believe your channel has been inspirational for a lot of people. Greetings from Croatia. Thank you, man. I appreciate your kind words. And it again blows my mind that I have at least one fan in Croatia. Josh, so if y'all had a choice, what would you choose? Built JDM NB 1.6 or built BP4W? I have a choice of two for my NB1. It would be cool to do the NB6 engine. So the JDM 1.6, I really don't know that much about. I don't even know if it's an evolution of the B6 engine, the US 1.6, or if it's like an unboard 1.8. I think it's just an evolution of the B6. If someone in the chat can tell me at least that, like, do the JDM did the 1.6 liter NB engines have the same head and cams as the 1990 NA 1.6 engine? What's the difference? But personally, I choose the BP4W. I mean, you want performance or you want uniqueness? Juan Estrada, how do you like your pizzas? I like my pizza. My ideal pizza, extra pepperoni and like well done, like crispy pepperoni and anchovies. If I don't have anchovies, pineapple. I'm going to get a riot going in chat on pineapple. We need more Greg eating spicy food videos and boost vlogs where I learned so much about the turbos themselves. I have a spicy food Instagram, actually. What is it again? I think that's it. This is my spicy food Instagram, Scoville Fanatic. That's my alias, Captain Capsaicin. How old is Ellie? She is approximately 5 years old. When we got her, we think she was about 1 to 2 years old. She was a rescue. She kind of just showed up at our house, and we were never able to find any owners. She wasn't chipped. She had no tags. We posted everywhere, and she's the sweetest dog. And we think someone might have just dropped her off in the street because she was just running around the street. She was already neutered. She had super, super well-maintained, clean teeth. She was well-groomed. Like, she was definitely owned by someone. And we don't know if the owners got rid of her or if she just ran away. But I think she has a good home here. Hello from Romania. I have a fan in Romania. That's crazy. Well, the chat keeps jumping. The JDM horsepower makes more power, 13. More power, well, 130 something over the 90 horsepower. Okay, so I don't know. apparently there's... Oh, there goes my camera again. There we go. All right. So there are different versions of the 1.6 that I know of. Apparently there's a 90 horsepower 1.6. I don't know what that came in. I thought maybe that was the 1.6 NB, but maybe it's not. Here in the US, we got two versions of the 1.6, both in the 90 to 93 Miatas, and that's it. There were no 1.6s after 1993. The two versions were the one that came with an automatic and one that came with a manual. And I know they use different cams. I don't know if anything else is different, like if the compression ratio is different or something, but the automatic has 100 horsepower at the crank, and the manual has 116 horsepower at the crank. So I don't know. I don't know what the 90 horsepower version came in. Pete C, if there's one that makes 130 something, then obviously that would be better than anything we got here. Any of the 1.6s we got here. Pineapple good. Anchovies though, yikes, dude. They're just salty and delicious. Like pepperoni is super salty. That's why I think it goes good on pizza. Anchovies is like takes it like times 10 the saltiness. Definitely hydrate if you drink that. In fact, it reminds me. Okay, what do we got? Upsprung. I'm running a JDM Mazda Speed B6 in my Miata. It has high compression pistons, different set of cams, and a specific Mazda Speed ECU. I'll send you photos tomorrow. Yeah, I want to know more about that thing. So apparently there's a Mazda Speed 1.6. What year was that made? Definitely not in the US though, right? We need Christian. We need Car Passion Channel mukbang. Nah, dude. It's gonna be a no from me, dog. Ye Mate says tires and wheels for 750 wheel horsepower. My built 2-liter built G35 900 NB. G35 turbo. Like Garrett G35. 900 NB gets no grip at all with 245/40. So let me ask, first of all, depends on what 245/40 you're on, but even if you run something like I have on my car, which is a semi-slick 245/40, it's still going to be completely useless with 750 wheel horsepower. What you're probably going to have to do is go to, like you said in your comment, 17s, and probably something with a little more sidewall and like a drag radial or something wide. That is a ridiculous amount of horsepower in a Miata. Check out Miata_Turbski on Instagram. He's got the 1,000 horsepower, nearly 1,000 horsepower BP Miata, which he runs on some outrageous drag tires. 2 fans in Romania. Magic QX. Constantinos NB6 EDM 110 horsepower, have different cams and liters from the NA6, which is supposed to be 115 horsepower. The intake manifold is different and the exhaust as well. So I guess my question is the block the same? Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to take my 1.6 liter and bore it out to 2 liters. You can't really do that because the NA6 1.6 liter originally was a 1.3 liter called the B3, and it was bored out to 1.6, so the cylinder walls are already thinned because of that boring, compared to the BP, which it was born as a 1.8, so it's already got more cylinder wall thickness to work with. Not that you should go crazy with the cylinder wall boring on that engine, the BP, because it's good to have, some thickness in that cylinder wall to absorb that turbo heat. If you're naturally aspirated, yeah, you can go a little bit crazier with the boring, but there's not like crazy performance gains to be had by boring it to the absolute max. And then if you have some kind of failure with your engine to where you need to get the cylinders redone and you're already at max bore, then you have nowhere else to go and you're stuck getting a new block. Okay, now there's way more about the 1.6 than I ever thought I was going to learn here. Joker man, we need some car passion rundown on ITBs. The green car might get ITBs. I'm kind of undecided the direction I want to go with that car, but ITBs are not off the table for the green car. What do you guys think? What does everyone love so much about ITBs? Because to me, ITBs, the main things they offer are they sound cool, they look cool, they offer a slight increase in throttle response over like a well-tuned, something that's already been tuned well for throttle response, not like against a factory car. And power, yeah, possibly some power gains, but not like, it's not like you're going to bolt ITBs on your car and it instantly becomes like 160 wheel horsepower. The sound burr. Exactly. If you're looking for a burr sound, then go ITBs. Robert says turbo it. I actually really wanted to turbo the NB before I got it. And my goal was, it was going to be kind of chasing down that 300 wheel horsepower on the stock block level that I was just not quite able to get to with the red car before. And I thought that would be really fun to put like a big turbo on it so it didn't make a bunch of low end torque that would just shred the rods, and show that, okay, we can get to 300 wheel horsepower on a stock block with a 5-speed. Or can I? That would be the challenge, obviously. But I just got so many comments about like, do anything but turbo. Turbo's already been done too many times. I've personally already done 3 turbo builds on the channel. Every other channel who's had a Miata basically has done a turbo build, and it's kind of saturated. So I see that viewpoint as well, and I think I should be doing something different also. So superchargers not off the table. ITBs are not off the table. It is definitely getting the nitrous system. But beyond that, I don't know. It's what I talked about earlier. I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time with the NB. And when I finish, that phase, I'll decide, okay, what is the next thing that I want to do? Because it depends on the results I get from that phase, how everyone reacts to it. I mean, I read all the comments on my videos and I see what people are liking and what they're not. And I try to make content that is best for the largest group of people, that's going to make the most amount of people happy or help them with their builds. So I don't have like a set upgrade path for the NB yet. And that's, I always try to keep my channel kind of fluid like that, so I can kind of move around, and I don't like to post up like, okay, like this is exactly how the next 4 months is going to look for the NB, and this is every single mod that I'm going to do, because I changed my mind on my own, and you guys also changed my mind. But now a bunch of people are saying turbo now. I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to do it. I would love to do it, but I also kind of like to get wrapped up in things that I've already done multiple times. And I'm like, this time that I do it, it's going to be the best yet. But I also want to do different stuff. Martin, it's all about low horsepower. Anything over 100 wheel horsepower ruins the car. Well, you are entitled to your opinion, my friend, but I have bad news for you. The factory NB makes over 110 wheel horsepower. I suppose you could turn it down if you feel like that ruins the car. You could get a standalone and then retard the ignition timing until you are down at your limit, 100 wheel horsepower, and then the car would become unruined. Michael, have you thought about putting wheel speed sensors on the VVTBs in order to mess around with traction control in Mega Squared? Yes, I have. So right now the car has a drive shaft speed sensor, which is what drives the speedometer, and it's also the only thing you need to run boost by gear, which the car currently is running boost by gear, and that itself made a huge difference in being able to drive it aggressively at lower speeds, because the only thing the ECU needs to know for boost by gear is the RPM of the engine, the speed of the rear wheels, and what from that. Oh, and the gear ratios, the diff and the transmission ratios. The ECU can then deduce what gear you're in, so you can set up like one of those cool gear shift indicators. But you can also set up individual boost targets for each gear. So the way I have it set up right now is just wastegate spring in first and second gear, and then in third gear it goes to full power. It's not optimal, but it was a drastic improvement over just running full boost all the time in every gear. In order to do traction control, I would have to add a front wheel speed sensor, because the way traction control operates is it compares the speed of the front wheels to the speed of the rear wheels, and if the rear wheels are spinning significantly faster than the front wheels, the ECU knows that that is wheel spin, and then you can set up parameters for what you want the ECU to do in the case that you're getting wheel spin. I believe in Mega Square you can set up like wheel spin percentage. You can say, oh, if the rear wheels are spinning more than 15% faster than the front wheels, then start to pull out ignition timing or lower the boost or something like that to control the traction. So yeah, that's possibly in the future for the red car. Craig says, Greg, come visit us at the Nürburgring. I would love to go to the Nürburgring and see if all the hours I put in Gran Turismo 2, 3, 4, 5, in memorizing every corner is worth 1% of anything if I were to actually go to the Nürburgring. I honestly think it would help. I mean, I've driven the track so much in video games. I can sit here and just tell you like the order of turns, like sweeping left or like medium speed uphill right, like for the entire track. But who knows? That might not be worth anything. I feel like that's been done on YouTube a couple times where people have driven the ring and then they go out there and discuss like, was it actually worth anything, you know? Urko, have you seen Phil from Car Throttle? It's a V6 MX-5. Yes, I followed the complete Phil build, and that thing is just completely rad. I love that car. I think he did a very good job on that car, and I know Alex said that he could have bought a Z3M on one of their podcasts for the price of how much money it took to build that car. But in my opinion, a Rocketeer swapped NA is way cooler than a Z3M or a Z4M. Matthew, when does the NB sticker get released? If you're talking about the build sticker, it's not going to be until the car aesthetically looks, much closer to its final form. I'm still thinking about getting it either painted or wrapped. It's going to get some wheels. It's going to get some other aesthetic changes. And once it's kind of looking, more like how it's going to look, sick style, then I'll start working on getting that NB decal released. And it'll be by the same artist, MF Rex. Add that to the collection. Nice Ricer Alley sounds in the background. Can you hear it? Someone just flew by with a some kind of fart cannon. Will 1.8 catback fit on the 1.6? I don't know off the top of my head. I know between 1.8 and 1.6, and even between NA and NB, the exhaust hangers they're different in some places, so that makes it kind of hard. Max K, hey man, just wanted to say thanks for everything you do. Your videos helped me so much with my own car and made me feel like I could work on my own. Thank you. Thank you, man, for watching and being on this journey with me. I love to hear when people say they watched my videos, they found my channel, and they started working on their own cars because of it. And it just like spirals into this. I didn't know how to change a wheel. I didn't know how to change brake pads. And now I fully built my engine. I boosted the car. It's got all this power. And I was able to take it to this level that I never thought I could achieve before. Riley with the super chat. Thank you, man. Love you, Miata Dad. So much inspiration for my 1.6 turbo. Glad you're loving life out there. Juan Estrada again, dude. You're wild. So if you blow up the NB, you're gonna put an LS3 in it, right? Now I don't plan on blowing up the NB on purpose, but you guys know things happen on the channel. It does happen. If I were to lose the engine in that car, I would consider swapping in a non-Miata engine to it. I think LS3 is a great swap, and I know if I were to do an LS Miata, I would get a lot of people who didn't like it, but I know I would get a lot of people who approved of it because it's just a good swap, and I think it's just rad if you go out to your car and you fire it up, and all of a sudden the sounds of a cammed LS are coming out of the back of it, and it's just this little like playful looking Miata. Very cool. But yeah, I'm a big fan of LS swaps, especially like the more modern ones. LS1 I don't think is as cool as like doing an LS3, LS2, LS3. What else? LFX swaps. I love LFX swaps. K swaps. Ecotech, I'm not as interested in it. I think Ecotech is good for like a heavy track duty car that, you're going to be completely fine with 180 factory horsepower and excellent reliability. See, already in the comments, some people are on board with the LS. Some people will tell me to delete my channel. Pravi, thoughts on hood vents? I'm in the process of turboing my car and thinking hood vents for heat management. I found on a forum that it causes temps to go up. Okay, so yeah, when it comes to aero type stuff, airflow type stuff, you definitely want to look into something that's been developed, not just something that looks cool. I know that the Singular Motorsports hood vents have been tested and developed for a long time, and they have a good design, and the idea that is to extract that hot air from the engine bay as the car's moving forward, because it's got if the car's moving this way, it's got a little lip before the vent, and what it's supposed to do is kick the air up high, so it creates a low pressure zone, and then that low pressure zone draws the hot air out from under the hood. So yeah, a lot of people have done testing on those vents and hood vents in general, and when they're done right, they can definitely be very helpful for cooling. Why does everyone want 700 to 900 for a 1.8? I don't know. That sounds pretty fair to me. I paid $650 for my VVT engine, 60,000 miles on it. That was in 2017, I believe. I got a 1.8 for $80. Stellar deal, my dude. Where can I get your wheels from? The wheels are this. And you can get them from here. Phil's Tire. Youngblood Racing Series 500. Will you ever do a BMW 2.5 or 3-liter swap on a Miata? Says Cosmin Porusnuk. I'm sorry for butchering that. Has anyone ever done a BMW straight 6 on a Miata? Because first of all, a straight 6 is not an easy engine to put into a Miata, because Miata engine bay this big, straight 6 this big. I've seen someone do a 2J swap and they had to cut a gigantic hole in the hood to get it to fit, and I am not a fan of that at all. But that being said, I am a big fan of BMW engines. ITBs are unobtainable to us Miata mortals. Yeah, see, this is kind of the reason why I'm going to do a lot of the super popular, common, easy bolt-ons for the NB, because I'm all about now, I know the red car kind of strayed away from this, but I'm all about creating content that is accessible and relatable to everyone. I want to do stuff that I think a lot of other people can do. I don't really have as much interest in doing like crazy outlandish swaps and builds that people that are watching aren't really doing. That's more of the entertainment side. I stray a little bit more towards the education side, where people can actually get knowledge from the videos that they're using in real life. They're not just like mindlessly watching YouTube videos for entertainment, which is not bad. Those channels 100% have their place, and they tend to get completely massive. But I like people to feel like they're actually getting something, from the video that they can take and use in real life. But maybe what that means is budget ITB build. Show us what's in your fridge. You should see the shelf of hot sauces that's in the fridge. Ilker, wasn't your subscriber count the same as TJ Hunt once? Yes, before either of us started YouTube, we both had 0 subscribers. I'm just kidding. When TJ Hunt reviewed my car, he had 190,000 subscribers and I had 20,000. So that's that. I distinctly remember him hitting 200,000, like right around the time that the video of my Miata was released. And he's done extremely well for himself. I'm pumped to see that someone can take their car passion and just explode it into something so awesome. Rotating banana. Who actually disliked this? Miata owners, man. They're lurking right now in the chat. They're making sure we're not discussing like secret mods to do to our Miatas to somehow smoke them. Big Ben, what is your opinion on Frankenstein builds, 94 block NB head, for example? Okay, so there's a lot of like nuanced differences between the blocks and heads of various years. Number one, it depends heavily on your goals. Like if someone were to come to me and say, I want to use factory Miata parts and I'm going to use stock parts, not doing like a crazy engine build, and I'm going to do a naturally aspirated build, what do I do? My recommendation to them would be the JDM VVT engine has 10.5 to 1 compression factory. So if you can get that bottom end and use any of the NB heads, whether it's VVT or not, that's your starting place, because you already have, that's the highest compression Miata engine, at least NANB, that's available, are those 10.5 to 1 factory pistons. The US VVT got 10 to 1, so they're still good, but not as good as the JDM VVT pistons. Or even putting like VVT pistons in your 94 block and then using an NB head. Pretty much all the NB heads are relatively close in performance, And then when you go to an NB head, you can get better intake manifolds, of course, like the square top and the VIX manifold. The worst intake manifold is the stock VVT manifold. Now, I will be dyno testing the BP4W intake manifold against the square top back to back, hot swap on the dyno to see where the gains and losses lie. But yeah, Frankenstein builds are cool. 90, let's see, what is it? 94 or 5. I don't remember the exact year, but there was an NA8 that had specifically low compression. It was like 8.8 to 1. So if you had the choice to start with a Miata engine and you wanted a naturally aspirated build, that would not be the one to start with because you're already at a distinct disadvantage. And yes, a naturally aspirated build can cost as much or more than a turbo build. Like if you want 200 wheel horsepower naturally aspirated, that requires a built engine just for strength reasons. Not that doesn't include like you need to do custom cams, you have to have connecting rods that can handle more RPM than the factory connecting rods. You have to do an upgraded oil pump or a super damper or something like that to protect the oil pump gears or replace them with stronger gears. And you can get an all-day reliable 220 wheel horsepower from a completely factory Miata engine. You don't have to do cams, you don't have to do head gasket, you don't have to do head studs. You just bolt the turbo on, intercooler piping, tune, 220 wheel horsepower easily. And it takes less skill, honestly, to do a turbo system on a stock engine than to build your own high-performance naturally aspirated engine. The only benefit of being in the UK is rust. The only benefit of UK rust. What do we got? At least one MX-5 with this BMW straight 6 exists in Greece. That's a wild swap, man. Greg is one of the Miata gods. I appreciate that you guys think that. I honestly just consider myself just a regular person who got into Miatas. I really didn't know anything about Miatas when I got my first one, and I just knew that I liked it. And I started modding it, and I learned myself about everything that I did. And then I was like, oh, I guess I could make some videos on this stuff. After you learn a lot of it, it doesn't seem as difficult in retrospect, but you just have to remember, like, I didn't know how to do, X process before I actually did it. So there's a lot of people out there that probably also don't know how to do it that could benefit from a video of it. Dynabuild FR on Instagram. His custom ITB himself with GSXR RAM. Yeah, I've seen a lot of motorcycle ITB setups. There's a lot of room for creativity in DIY ITB setups, and that's a huge reason of why I would do it to the NB if I did it. Is obviously I want to like dyno test the performance gains or losses if there are any, and see like what are you paying for. But I would also want to do it just because it's a challenge and kind of a fun DIY project and something that I've never done before. I've never built an ITB system before. I've never tuned ITBs before. I've never daily driven an ITB car. So it's enticing in that manner. I love how there's like sub conversations going on in chat, people helping each other with technical advice. This is the community, dude. It's the community at work. Can you put Scott? Can you put a 1.8 head on a 1.6 block? You cannot, because the 1.6 liter and the 1.8 liter have different cylinder spacing, different everything between the head and the block. So you cannot do that. Juan Estrada again, dude. Don't spend your whole stimulus check in my chat, please. I'm gonna feel bad. So my Miata is a stance boy right now, but I want to turbo my 1.6. Then, oh, I lost my video feed again. It's so random. This thing, I don't know if it's getting too hot or. Okay, so my Miata is a stance boy right now, but I want to turbo my 1.6, then swap a 1.8. Do you think the 1.8 VVT is worth the hassle? I would, well, first of all, I would consider doing the 1.8 swap first. Then you can get the stock 1.8 running, get it on the standalone and everything, get the swap done, and then start boosting that car, because you're kind of going to be doing double work and buying some parts twice, because like the exhaust manifold will not work on the 1.8. So I'd consider doing the 1.8 first. Is the VVT worth the hassle? I mean, it's kind of like asking, is a 1.8 swap worth the hassle? You're possibly paying a little bit more for a VVT engine or VVT head. The most popular ECU for Miata's MS2 cannot control VVT, so you either have to do MS2 with a VV tuner, which I would never do or recommend, because just get MS3, or the ME221, the ME442. Those also have VVT control. So I don't know really why some people are against VVT. Like, in my opinion, it is worth it, because it is definitely a performance advantage and an efficiency advantage if you care about that. And getting it set up is literally running 2 wires, and then you tune it, and then once it's tuned, it's done. And even if it doesn't have to be tuned perfectly, or else you're gonna like lose some major performance. Like, yeah, if you run full cam advance all the time, your performance is not going to be good. But it comes with a base map that you don't even really have to tune, that works fine. Or I mean, if you get a standalone that supports VVT, it's going to come with a pre-tuned base map for it, most likely. So I don't really know why some people think the VVT is not worth it. Some people say like, oh, you can't rev the VVT cam above 7400 because it's got like a harmonic issue. I've definitely revved to 8100, 8200 many times. Haven't experienced any failures yet. So that's not to say that it doesn't have an issue, but that's just my experience. I also built my car to make all of its power within, relatively close to the stock power band or the stock rev range. And it does. It makes, I have my limiter set to 7700, but above like 7400, the power starts to drop off really fast. It makes all of its power within the stock rev range. So I don't really, I'm not a big fan of the idea to doing a turbo build that revs super high to try to make more power, unless you're at a point where you're at the 5, 6, 700 horsepower level, and then you have to start running a much larger turbo, which consequently spools later, and you have to get to that high RPM to find the power. Now, if you do, people putting a T25 on their Miata engine, absolutely zero reason to rev to 8,000, because you're going to run the turbo out of air well before you get to that. Master Cricket 1.8 head is not made up to the 1.6 block. My Miata literally just broke down. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope you're not on the side of the road right now. Best of luck. Godspeed if you are. Riley wanted to say the Megasquirt tuning videos are super helpful. Gives the confidence to actually commit to turbo. I know they get less views, but some of them are the most helpful. And that's exactly why I didn't stop making them after the first one that I made that got like no views, because the comment section of those videos is really what tells me that there are people out there that those very specific niche videos are a great help to. The people that are actually putting a standalone in their car and that are actually running into the common issues. So that's why I make those. And if you guys get your car on a standalone while the engine is still stock, you have not too much to worry about. You've got huge margins of error on everything. Pretty much any standalone you buy is going to come with a base map that's going to, at the very least, all your sensor settings, your ignition settings, everything's going to be preset up for you, so you don't have to mess with anything. It's going to come with a reasonable spark map, and you're probably going to have to do some fuel tuning right off the bat, but it's really just you load up the base map, and there's not much to be scared about. You're not going to hurt your engine by getting the idle settings wrong. You're not going to blow up the engine if you take it on the freeway for the first time and during cruise the car is sputtering and it's running 17-to-1 AFRs. Now, if you load the base map on and you go and do like 130 mile per hour pulls and your engine is running 16-to-1 AFRs and you're boosted and you do it over and over, like, yes, you're going to hurt something, but that's just like fueling is the biggest thing that you'll have to mess with when you put a standalone in your car. Manny, I just got it towed home. Thanks. No problem, man. I'm glad you're home safe. Let the wrenching begin, right? Adrian, hey Greg, followed you for years and enjoyed everything but the vibration season. It literally was a season. Still struggling to keep the Supra when the MX-5 looks like so much more fun. Oh man, what kind of Supra do you have? 3 or a 4? Or a 5? Coming from 300ZXs, I will say that driving the Miata spirited / aggressively, the way that I describe it, coming from a heavier, like a Grand Touring size car, I will say that it felt like I turned the game from simulation to arcade. Like, they're that much different. And they are fun in their own way. I can't really say one's better than the other. Like, yeah, if you put them both on, say, an autocross track, the Miata's going to run circles around the Supra, set up equally. But it's not just about, the numbers and the data and everything. The driving feel of the 300ZX was just so unique and different that it was a blast in its own way. I would never say that, the Miata is definitively better or something like that. They're fun in their own ways. Is the ZF 5-speed worth the price? How's it feel compared to the OEM Miata? Okay, this is an interesting question because I have now had the ZF transmission swap in the car for at least 2 years. Anyways, I got a lot of miles on it now. And first, the pros. The pros of doing the ZF swap are, number one, the transmission itself is not very expensive. I got mine for like $300. Okay, so half the price of a Miata 6-speed on average. So yes, the swap itself is expensive, but once you complete the swap, the thing that's going to break or wear out is really one of the cheapest parts of the entire system. So that's why I really like the idea of doing a swap like that. Number two, pro, is that I am 0% worried about the strength of that transmission. I have just launched the crap out of it and I beat on that thing, and I know that at the power level my car's at, 350 wheel torque, 420 wheel horsepower, I don't have to worry about that transmission breaking. The cons, the shifting feel of mine specifically is not as good as when I had the 6-speed, and it's for a couple reasons, I think. And it's interesting because my girlfriend's BMW 330 Ci has the same transmission in it, and the shifting is really good. And I don't know if it has to do with the linkage itself or the fact that The red line on that car is like 6,200, and I'm trying to shift it at 7,500. I know that's possibly an issue with the ZF, is they don't really like the high RPM shifts, but the shifting feel just isn't that great. And of course, it's also possible that the ZF I got is worn out, so I don't want to say like, oh, all ZFs have bad shifting feel, because I've personally driven ZFs that feel completely fine. But when the Miata had the Miata 6-speed in it, and it had the twin disc clutch, which although I think that twin disc, the aggressiveness of it is what led to the failures of the 6 speeds that I used to run, the shifting was so good. I have a clip somewhere. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to find a clip on my computer of a shift of when I had that setup in there that is so sick. Hold on one second, guys. Where is this thing? Pulls. It's called fast shift. Okay, hold on. I'm going to capture this real quick. Hopefully I don't crash my entire stream by attempting this. Window capture, media source. That's probably exactly what's going to happen. This is sick, though. I don't even see. I might not be able to do it. I'm sorry for this this boringness. All right, hold on one second. Okay, I couldn't figure it out. I can figure it out, but it's like I have to actually show everything on stream, like what I'm trying to do. So I will oh, okay, my mic's on. I'll post that clip on my Instagram story after I finish the stream, I promise. Okay, I got some chats to catch up on real quick. Peter, Greg, without your videos, my Miata would likely be in. Can you not slurp in the middle of my stream, Ellie? So rude. I'm just kidding. Like, now she's gonna come drip all over me. Peter, Greg, without your videos, my Miata would likely be in someone else's hands. Thank you for taking the time to pass on your knowledge. Take care, brother. I am stoked to hear that, and I'm glad you still have your Miata because of the videos. It's an MK4 NA Supra. Okay, Adrian. So, oh man, those are really cool cars. Even though they're not turbo, and I don't know if the Supra community is the same as the 300ZX community, but anytime someone would find out that I had a 300ZX, number one question, of course, is it twin turbo? And I never had a twin turbo 300ZX that I drove, so it didn't really mean any harm. But it's like, no, like I'm not a cool guy. I don't have the twin turbo, but I really like the MK4 even in NA form. I think they're really cool. In fact, there's a guy that I followed for quite a long time. His name might be NA Supra. I don't remember exactly, but he had an NA Supra with ITBs, and the thing was just super sick. I don't know. I think if you sell an MK4 Supra right now, you might regret it. But maybe you could pick up a cheap Miata just to see if you like it. Are there any differences between the BP1 and the BP2 blocks? The pistons. The blocks, not really. The BP2 has, or BP6D, it's actually called, the NB2 blocks, actually has the main bearing support plate, which is pretty cool. And the pistons are 10-1 instead of, I think the NB1 uses 9.5-1. Daniel, oh man, I didn't know donations were a thing. They are indeed a thing, and I appreciate every single one so much. I've been trying to keep up with chat regardless, but your donations are greatly appreciated. Don't feel obligated at all to send me anything. That's not the goal here, but thank you for everything you do. Have gotten so much from your channel. I'm stoked to hear that, man. AD1, thoughts on drop spindles. If you're into something that requires good steering geometry and corrected steering geometry for aggressive driving, then sounds good to me. Drop spindles, for anyone who doesn't know, basically it allows you to lower your car without overly compromising the suspension geometry. So I know they're pretty popular in drifting. Okay, we're coming up on 3 hours. Can you please upload full stream after it's over? Yes, I will upload the full stream when it's over. Peter. Matthew, now that the red Miata is all sorted out, is there anything you wish you had done differently during the build? Different size turbo or built head? There's really not much I wish I had done differently. The only thing I could think of is I wish I had put a little bit less aggressive clutch in it, because I think that was a big part of the transmission failures, was the unsprung twin disc with a super, super light flywheel. And I think I might have been able to get the 6 speeds to last longer. But other than that, like turbo size, I'm pumped. The power band is so perfect in that car. The boost just comes on like a light switch almost at a decently low RPM, 300 wheel torque at 3600, and it pulls all the way up. So I think that's perfect. Built head, not really. I don't think it's necessary at the like 400 and below horsepower level. The stock cams and NB heads they do great. Is there performance to be had? Yes, but I definitely don't regret not building the head. Okay, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate all of you guys coming here for the 10th anniversary of the Car Passion channel. I can't even believe it myself that I've been posting videos on this channel for over 10 years now. Thank you guys again for helping me hit this insane milestone again that I thought I would never be able to get to 100,000 subscribers. I now have like 113,000 or something like that. Totally crazy. And I'm glad to be able to make videos for you guys. I have videos planned for February, I already have stuff filmed, lined up in the editing process that I cannot wait to share with you guys. We're going to have plenty of NB content, some stuff for the NA as well. And as always, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the comment sections and on story replies and DMs and everything else. So thanks again, guys. Peace out.